Nostalgia. It's delicate, but potent.
In Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound.
Today I want to explore nostalgia and how it's utilized in Stranger Things. Specifically, why is nostalgia such a delicate and powerful way to connect with audiences? And why did the nostalgia of Stranger Things turn sour? Some TV shows manage to stick the landing so perfectly that their legacy becomes untouchable. And when endings fail, it risks rewriting the cultural memory of the show as a whole. It began as a breakthrough for Netflix, an original piece of IP that was exciting and emotionally resonant, with a careful blend of nostalgia, mystery, horror, and character-driven storytelling. But as the seasons went on, the show grew bloated, and when the finale arrived, the nostalgia at the heart of Stranger Things finally ran out of road. Season 1 captured the audience's imagination from the get-go. A small town, a missing child, a group of close friends on bikes solving mysteries. It channeled the pop culture 1980s. There was Spielberg's child-led wonder and suburban adventure in films like E.T. There was Stephen King's small-town horror and themes of psychic children. There was John Carpenter's synth horror and general atmosphere like The Thing, as well as classic coming-of-age and high school films such as The Breakfast Club and Stand By Me. This made Stranger Things familiar without being unoriginal and nostalgic without being hollow. And for Netflix, it was a breakthrough, a show that felt cinematic, bingeable, and emotionally rich. Season 1 worked because it was focused on a tight cast with real stakes. Characters felt at risk, Joyce's descent into madness felt real, and there was no plot armor protecting the core cast. Looking back, Season 1 has some genuinely terrifying moments, playing with suspense more than spectacle, that was neatly balanced out by light-hearted scenes of school, friendship, and family. As Don Draper said,
Nostalgia.
It's a time machine. It takes us to a place where we ache to go again.
And this is where Stranger Things arrives at its core problem. The show is not really set in the 1980s, it's set in the cultural memory of the 80s, the movies, the music, the stories. The feeling of nostalgia is therefore tricky, it's sensory, emotional, and often inaccurate. The real 1980s were not all neon glow. There were underlying issues such as fear of nuclear war, the AIDS crisis, the war on drugs, economic decline, and widespread social inequality. Stranger Things steers itself far away from these realities. Its nostalgia is a curated fantasy, a warm, Spielberg-lit version of the decade. But when the show does try to address real issues, like Will's queerness in the later seasons, it collides with the harsher truths of the era. The tension becomes obvious. The show wants the emotional effect of the 80s without addressing the key themes and complexities of the period. In Jameson's postmodernism, or the cultural logic of late capitalism, he argues that many films set in past periods don't actually try to represent history accurately. Instead, they recreate the style of past eras, producing a glossy, idealized simulation of history. The key concepts are stylized pastiche. This is where films borrow the visual codes, music, fashion, and genre conventions of earlier decades, not to critique them, but to reproduce them as pleasurable images. History as commodity. The past becomes something to consume, like a product. Jameson sees this as part of late capitalism's tendency to turn everything, even memory, into marketable style. And cultural schizophrenia. Jameson argues that postmodern culture loses a coherent sense of historical time. Instead of understanding the past, we experience it as disconnected fragments. Stranger Things functions almost like a textbook example of Jameson's nostalgia film. It doesn't recreate the 1980s as they were, but as a curated collage of 80s styles, moods, and pop culture. Its world is built from pastiche, turning the decade into an aesthetic you can consume. By season 5, Stranger Things was carrying more weight than it could handle. The narrative is huge. 18 core characters, endless subplots, interchangeable government agents, constant emotional conversations. The intimate character moments of season 1, such as Jonathan and Nancy bonding, the boys navigating school life, the quiet family dynamics, feel like a distant memory. All of this is replaced by endless group discussions, visual effects spectacle, and exposition on top of exposition. The show stopped showing and started telling, and the heart of the story got buried under the scale of the world. The finale delivered plenty of spectacle and scale, with some effective emotional flashbacks and a few moments where Winona Ryder was finally given something meaningful to do. Still, it, and season 5 overall, felt dragged out. The show Lost had a similar problem. It's famously said that J.J. Abrams and the writers never knew where Lost was going. They made it up as they went along, and as a result, there was an ending that feels incomplete. In Stranger Things, with 18 characters to cover, there was the need for endless endings, and the emotional beats felt recycled from one scene to the next. Season 1 felt intentional, but Season 5 was going through the motions. As I write this, we already know that Stranger Things didn't end. The IP continues into the ether, with a live-action spin-off already in discussion. Like all good IP, it's damned to follow the likes of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings down the path of franchise expansion. In today's entertainment landscape, nothing profitable is allowed to die. And while Stranger Things started with the perfect execution of attention-capturing nostalgia, this could only carry it so far. Eventually, a show needs clarity, focus, and emotional truth, and these are knots the ending failed to tie.